Terasan, we are human beings. We are not trees. We are not rivers. Therefore, we are so selfish. We never serve the world unconditionally. We can't do that. But rivers don't drink their water. They only serve. Trees don't eat their own fruit. They only serve. But human beings, animals, they can't serve. But they are nature. But they are different. Can't you see that? As we know, we all are nature. Trees, rivers, human beings, other animal beings. If we are human beings, they are animal beings. We all are nature. But can't you see that we all are different than rivers and trees, mountains? If someone comes to your home and stay there, then you will ask for some money, ask for a rent. But when you go to a mountain and stay there for a week and you come back, does mountain ask anything from you? Does mountain ask for anything? No. You always live on the earth, but it never asks for anything. But you always ask for a rent when someone comes to you and stays in your house. Why? But we are nature. In that case, I think you should understand that even though we are nature, we are defiled. We are defiled and we are greedy. We need to find a solution for that. If you can find that solution, you will become nature again in your mind. In your mind. Because you are nature. But you can't feel that. And you behave differently. You experience ego. Therefore, your lifestyle is egocentric. You always do things to satisfy yourself. Therefore, you can't love. You always expect others to love. But you don't want to love. You want to satisfy yourself. Whatever you do that to be satisfied. Therefore, your life is so egocentric. But we need to find a solution for that. Otherwise, you will suffer. This is the reason behind this. Human beings are suffering. Not only human beings, all the beings are suffering. If you name yourself as a being, then you are suffering. Because you are not a being, you are nature. You can't be separated, but you always feel that. When you feel that separateness, you try to maintain a different entity, a separate entity, which is called self or a being. You always feel that. Therefore, you try to satisfy it. And desires are created. Then you try to satisfy your desires. You can't avoid that. If desires are there, vexation is there, and you have to do something to satisfy yourself, or you have to do something to come out of vexation. Then this becomes your life. Therefore, we can't talk about great lives, because lives are not great. Lives are full of suffering. Full of suffering. Everybody does something to satisfy themselves. They don't think even. They only think to be satisfied. In that case, they can't help others. Actually, they never help others. Therefore, they are restless. They can't feel complete. They can't feel perfect. But they are perfect. Your mind is perfect. Your life is perfect. But you don't feel that. Therefore, you try to do something to be satisfied. That becomes your life. Therefore, we need to find a solution for this. Otherwise, we have to live like, I don't know, I don't have words for that. Like, oh, I have a word. Like human beings. We have to live like human beings. You can see, you have a family, and you feed your family. 1 or 2 children, you and your spouse. You feed them, you look after them, you live your life to look after them, serve them, to protect them, feed them. But if you take a tree, which is nature, you also. A tree feeds a village. A lot of people, a lot of animals, a lot of beings. That you are a human being, you can think, you can change the world, you can change the environment, but still you feed only 3 or 4 members, only 3 or 4 beings again. That becomes your life. Now you can see, if we compare your life with a tree, your life will be very useless. Does that happen? Then how can you feel that you are complete? Because you only feed 3 members, 4 members, but you collect from everyone. You try to take all the things, you try to acquire all the things and keep it with you to feed your family. That happens. I'm not blaming you, I'm not insulting you. That happens due to this mind. Due to this mind means actually due to the conditions of the mind. Otherwise, your mind is nature. If I talk about only your mind, which is the pure mind, then that mind is like trees and rivers. It doesn't need anything. It appears, it manifests to serve the world. Serve the world means it appears to serve its job. It doesn't need anything. It doesn't expect anything. The mind, it is very pure. That is the purest thing in the world. But because of those defilements, the mind thinks that it's a being and it becomes so selfish and egocentric. Therefore, it has its things, therefore now it wants to protect its things. Therefore it has a family now. It has a body, it has some other conditions, and it has a family, it has a wealth, and it has all those things. Now it wants to protect all these things because it wants to be satisfied. Finally, what happened to the mind? Now it is not pure anymore. Therefore, everybody has to suffer. Therefore, I always tell you to understand this, because I want you to want to have the pure mind. You should understand that because of that you are suffering. If you can experience the pure mind, you won't do anything, such as earning and collecting, acquiring. You won't do those things. If you feel complete, but you don't. There's a void. Always you feel that void. Therefore you try to be superior than others. You always talk about that. Even when you talk, you want to be superior than others. Because of that you are suffering. You can't sit on the floor. You always need a higher place to sit, and because you need to feel that you are superior than others. That means whenever you think about yourself, you feel so inferior. I can't imagine that. Whenever you feel about yourself, you feel so inferior. Why? And there should be something. We should control that. We should control that, and we should destroy it. Why can't you feel superior? Most of the time you feel so inferior whenever you think about yourself. Therefore you always try to acquire something and be superior than others. That's why people have those views in their mind. When you have something, when you have wealth or something, then you can be superior than others. That's the reason you always collect things to make yourself bigger. That's the reason you go to a gym and you try to build up your muscles. Then you will have a big body. For gentlemen and for women, for ladies, the other way. They have some other different things. They always try to do that. And everybody wants to be superior. Everybody wants to be superior because they always feel inferior. That's a punishment. When you think about yourself, if you feel inferior, that's a punishment because you can't tolerate that idea. You can't tolerate that idea, therefore you try to do something always to feel better. Then how do you feel better? By making yourself so superior than others. In order to do so, you have to acquire many things. Therefore you have to work. You have to spend your life with unnecessary things. Actually you spent your life to acquire unnecessary things. What are the unnecessary things? Almost all of them. They are unnecessary. They are unnecessary. When you eat, you only need perhaps less than 1 kilo of something. Something which is edible. That's the only thing you need. When you are ill, you need some medicine. Apart from that, all other things are unnecessary. But you have to earn. Perhaps you have a lot of money in your bank account. That's not your money. That's your life. You spent your life to earn that money. That's your money, but you won't use it. You won't use it, and someone will use one day, but you won't use it. You can't. And you can't take it with you. You will die empty-handed. But the problem is, you have spent your life to earn money, just to feel superior. That's it. Or just to feel protected. Because you think about your future, because you feel that you are an entity. Therefore, then you have to live in these three times. The past, the present, and the future. Therefore, you always think about your future. Therefore, to protect your future, which is an illusion. To protect your future, you earn. Earn means you spend your life. Don't take it simply, ladies and gentlemen. Earning means you're working. You're working unnecessarily. From 8 to 5, you're working. And you teach your kids to study well and have degrees and all these things and start doing jobs. Because they also need to earn money, because they also believe in the future. Everybody believes in the future, therefore they always try to spend their life, which means the present, to protect their future. And you will die tomorrow, but you will spend your life today to protect your day after tomorrow. Who will use that? If you die tomorrow, nobody will use it. But you spent your life. But you have to spend your life because it bothers you. It bothers you when you think about your future. You can't stay still. You can't stay calm. You have to do something. You have to do something to protect it. You have to do something to keep you alive. Because you know that one day you will die, but you don't want to. That's another headache. Because you will die one day. Therefore, you try to protect yourself. You try to protect yourself, and in order to protect yourself, you need some money, because one day doctors will ask for money to save your life. Therefore, you try to destroy your life today to protect your future. You have to do that because of fear. Sometimes people behave like heroes, saying that I don't have fear, I will die at any time. No, they are lying. They are lying. If someone says that, tell them, okay, you are a hero, stop earning money, give all the money you have, and we will give you the 4 basic requisites to live. Will they stay? No. They always earn money. They always earn money because of fear. But if you can understand your life, if you can understand nature, then you will be free. Then you just need to find the basic requisites. There are 4 basic requisites. Then you will be satisfied with that. Because there are 4 basic requisites, ladies and gentlemen. That is only 4 basic requisites. These are the things that we need. Other than that, we need mental serenity. We need to find a cure for this. If you don't find a cure for this, then we will fail. I'm telling these things, I want you to mourn about your life. That's the beginning of the session. I want you to mourn about your life, about your past. And then you will realize that will happen in the future as well if you don't stop this. Keep getting desires. Day in and day out, you associate with people and they will give you more desires. Then you will observe those desires, observe those views, and you will be connected with them. Then after that, it becomes yourself. Those views. Then you strongly believe that you need a good education. You strongly believe that you will have a future. You strongly believe that you will die one day. You strongly believe that you will be ill one day. You strongly believe these things. Because those views became your life. Those views became yourself. But the Buddha said that death is an illusion. You won't die. Be a Buddhist if you want to stop your death. Be a Buddhist. Be a Buddhist that follows the truth, not follows a religion. If you want to be immortal, be a Buddhist. Be a real Buddhist. That means be nature. Then you don't have to worry about your life. You don't have to worry about your death. So you will realize that no one is there to die. If you can fully realize it, can you imagine how free you will be? If you can fully realize that, there is no one to die. This is what we need to understand. That's why we follow this doctrine. The Buddha taught us the reality. And if we don't know that, we had to spend our life and we had to destroy our life. Actually, we destroy our life. Life becomes useless. Because if you earn something that you can't use, only for fame, just imagine that life becomes so useless. People want to be millionaires. For what? Can they eat all the things? Can they use all the things? But they want to become millionaires because they want to be superior. When you go to society, you always need to be superior. Therefore you earn, you spend your life. Because you can't tolerate the feeling of inferiority. That's terrible. Therefore, you always try to do something. You can't stop yourself. Think about that. I want you to meditate with this. Whenever you go to the society that you associate with, you try to be superior. Therefore, you destroy your kingdom of heaven. You destroy your Nibbana. You destroy your Paramatma. It has different names, but the serenity is the same. You always destroy it. In order to show off, in order to prove to yourself that you are superior than others, and in order to prove others that you are superior than others. Therefore, you teach your kids as well. Therefore, you have everything but peace of mind. You have everything. You will acquire everything. You will talk. You will talk about your ancestors. You will talk about history and all these things. But you won't be happy. Let's try to be a river that flows and serves the world. And rivers are protected. Rivers don't have to do anything to protect themselves. Because they are protected. They are protected because they serve. When you serve, you will be protected. You don't have to protect yourself, because when you serve, you are a valuable and sacred thing to the society. Therefore, society will protect you. You don't have to be protected, or you don't have to use your life to protect yourself. If you can be nature, nature is protected by itself. If you are nature, then you will definitely be protected. I don't have to protect myself. You will protect me because I serve you selflessly. You need me. Therefore, you will protect. If you take a mango tree, it will be protected. Because it serves people, animals, they need it. Therefore, we don't have to protect ourselves. We just need to serve. But the problem is, we can't serve because we want to be served. Because we have a big void. Therefore, we always feel emptiness. Even though we have something with us, on our hand, we feel so empty. But this is very dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. We need to understand that bit, because we know that we always commit sins because of that. Acquiring things that belongs to everyone. Things that belong to everyone is a sin. But anyway, we do that. You have land, perhaps many that belong to everyone, but that's yours. You acquired it. That's a sin. If you have food that belongs to everyone, that's a sin. You don't expect daily bread. Jesus Christ said once, daily bread will be given. Daily bread. Nature always gives daily bread. If you come to this monastery, you will have daily bread. In the morning, it will serve. Lunch will be served. Daily bread. You don't have to think about tomorrow, do you? You don't have to think about tomorrow meals. It will be served. You just need to live today. You just need to live today and help yourself to come out of suffering and stop suffering and help others to do so. Be like rivers. Don't drink. Just serve. There's a path. We just need to realize that we are like rivers. Actually, we are rivers. Actually, we are trees. Trees don't have minds, but we have. The mind is defiled because it doesn't have those characteristics. That's the only issue. If we take the original mind, it is pure and it is nature. These defilements are the problem and the issue. Therefore, we need to eradicate those defilements. Then let the mind come to its original state. When it comes to its original state, then it's nature. It's nature, the body is nature. Therefore, you won't feel that you are a separate being. You will feel that you are nature. Can you imagine? When you have a few acres of land and you feel that you feel like a king. And can you imagine that you feel that you are nature? Every country belongs to you because you are nature. You won't feel that you are a tiny creature. But right now, you feel that you are a tiny creature. That's the reason you try to make it bigger and bigger and bigger. Because you always feel that you are a tiny creature. But don't forget that you are nature. You are nature. Everything belongs to you. You are nature. But you don't feel that. Therefore, you can't accept my success. You can't accept someone else's success because you are separated from nature. Then someone is very successful. You don't have to be successful. You can enjoy it. You can rejoice that. But when you see that someone is very successful, what do you feel? You feel so inferior. Therefore, you try to be superior than him. In order to do so, you destroy your life. Can you imagine that? It's like when you see someone is very successful and you commit suicide. Because you can't tolerate. Don't you feel that it's a disease? Actually, it's a mental disorder. It's a mental disorder. Everybody is suffering because of that, and everybody is suffering, therefore nobody cares. If everybody has a tail, then nobody worries. If you have a tail, then you worry because you are the only person. You have a tail. Everybody is suffering from this disease, this mental disorder. That's why when you see a successful person, you can't be calm. Then suddenly a fire ignites in your heart, and you can't stay placid, and then you do something to be successful. Why can't you accept it? Why can't you rejoice it? Because that's nature. Now here, if you get a PhD, then others have to rejoice it and accept it. Or we have. Then I don't have to get a PhD because you have it. But if you want to learn, you should learn. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about mental suffering. Then if you can accept that, then someone is very rich. Then, oh yeah, he is very rich. Then, let's rejoice that. He is a millionaire. Let's rejoice that. Therefore, we should be able to think that we are millionaires. But you can't. You can't because of this. Because you feel that you are very small. You are not nature. That's how you feel. You are not nature. You are a part of nature. Tiny part of nature. A tiny part of nature. That's why sometimes you can't be satisfied with your body because you think that this body is yours. This is my body. Oh, this is so thin. I need more muscles. Oh, this is me. Now head is not enough. They wear a helmet. This is what happened. But this is a mind, ladies and gentlemen. Can you imagine that the mind does all these things? Then if you see a bodybuilder, I'm not insulting them by saying this. If you see a bodybuilder, you can see that how hard he worked. He worked out to build his body, and it's only a mind. If he goes to a paddy field and work there and produce some food, then someone will eat. And he can earn some merits by giving that. In the future, it will help him. But he went to a gym and worked out. Now he has a big one. Big. When he sees someone, then he feels that he is so superior. The same thing happens when you are educated. This is body-wise, the other one is education-wise. Then how many certificates you have? That is very important. Or languages that you can speak, especially the English language. If you know, oh, you are so superior. Therefore, learn some English and go to a village. Then you will feel so superior. Because they are villagers. Oh, these dirty villagers, they don't know English, but I know. You will feel that, and you will feel so superior. This is how it is, ladies and gentlemen. We can see some people came from abroad. Then they behave like they straight away they go to their villages. They go to their villages and they behave like completely different people, and they enjoy it. When they talk, they use a few English words in every sentence that villagers can't understand, and they enjoy it. They feel so superior. Can you imagine that? Why don't they feel so? Oh, that word is not good. So foolish. Perhaps they go to their relatives, perhaps their parents, ladies and gentlemen. They go to their, I'm not talking about everyone, okay? There are some, excluding you. There are some. Sometimes they go to their parents. The parents can't speak in English and they try to be superior than their parents. They do that. Now you can see, they don't even leave their parents when they want to be superior. They want to do something, and sometimes when you get your degree, then you won't listen to your parents. You don't listen to your father anymore because he doesn't have a degree. But you have a degree. Now you are a well-educated person, but your father is a villager. He doesn't know. He only knows how to work in the paddy field. This is what happens. Therefore, people like to have their educational qualifications. What I'm telling you, you need educational qualifications, ladies and gentlemen, just to live and ease your life. You need them, not to show off. Therefore, when you study, I want you to focus on the subject, not on yourself. Learn it completely and use it and serve the world. If you learn physics to the fullest. You should know each and everything because it will ease your life and others as well. That's why we should learn. Then you won't suffer. But if you think about your future and if you want to be superior in the future, then you will suffer. Everything happens because of the ego. That's why I always want to let you know that this is your enemy. This is the enemy of greatness. This is the enemy of all these things. You do all these things, you sacrifice all these things because of this. And finally, you don't have this. This is created right now. This is created when causes are there. It hasn't been. You can't just say that it has been there. It hasn't been. It is created right now. It manifests right now. It manifests right now when it destroys your present. Present means it destroys your life, the life. You can't experience the kingdom of heaven because you always live in the present, which is, you always live in the future or the past. You always regret by living in your past, and you always be afraid by living in your future. You always destroy the kingdom of heaven because of this. This is created. And this has many wantings and many expectations. I told you last time. It was a good one. We talk about God. If the mind manifests right now, do you want God? If the mind manifests right now, and if it doesn't have a future, it doesn't have the past, then do you want a God to protect you? To protect? What do you have to protect? If the mind manifests right now, what do you have to protect? That's why when you understand the Dhamma, when you understand the doctrine, and when you come to your own realization, you will be free. Otherwise, you will be a prisoner. You will be a prisoner, and you need a God to protect you. You need a God to tell your future expectations. And you have to make Him almighty. Because in the future you will have cancer, then you have to create a God to cure it. At least you have to create God in your mind. That's what happened, ladies and gentlemen. I strongly believe that people create God. Gods and demons are there. I'm not talking about them. But if you think that there is an almighty God, you have created it. You have created it because you want it. Every time you can see that necessity is the mother of invention. Do you believe that? Necessity is the mother of invention. If your mind is created right now, does it have any wanting? Does it have any necessity? No. Then if it doesn't have any necessity, will it create anything? No. Will it need anything? No. It doesn't need any God. But if the mind has a wanting, now necessity is there. When the mind has a wanting, then the mind needs to create something that is almighty. Then it can have hope. It can have some hope and live. When you have a cancer, the first thing we should give you is, don't worry, it will be cured. Then we don't have any cure, but we can say that, don't worry, we will cure. Go to that temple and worship thrice. Then your cancer will be cured. Now you have some hope. Therefore you go to that temple and you spend your money there. I'm not against temples and churches, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just helping you. You don't have to believe these things. You don't have to believe my words. If you can understand this, just believe it, otherwise leave it. It's so simple. That's why people go to temples. That's why they worship all these things. The Buddha said that this is not a way. This is not the way to come out of fear and come out of suffering. There's only one way. The Buddha said that people, when they are afraid, when they are frightened, they always try to seek refuge in all these things. They go to temples, they go to special trees, they go to statues, pagodas, and they ask for things from them. Bahume saranang yanti pabbhatani vanani cha aramarukka chetyani manusa bhayatajjita, the Buddha said. When the mind is frightened, actually, the mind doesn't have any reason to be frightened, ladies and gentlemen, but it is frightened because of those defilements. Because it thinks that it lives for long. But it doesn't live for long. It manifests right now, and it rises and passes away in this moment. And it doesn't have to protect itself. No one is there to protect, and no one shouldn't have to be there to protect. But when the mind feels that it is an entity, which means when the ego manifests, then the ego wants to be protected in the future. Now the fear is created, the fear manifests, then it needs someone to protect. When you feel your future, when you strongly believe that you have a future, then there should be someone to protect it. Therefore, when people are afraid, now they go to churches, temples, and all these things. But please, if you go, continue. I just want you to understand this. And they start worshipping all these things. And they create statues. They and they try to create almighty things. And they try to be convinced that this God and that God is almighty, because now they have some hope. If you are poor, you just need to go to a temple and ask for some money from the God that you have created from your mind. Then you strongly believe that God will give this, God will give this. And at the same time, some wise men are there in temples. They are called priests. Good priests, I'm talking about. And they always ask it, okay, you believe in your God. Your God is almighty. Right, now you need to give. When you give others, your God will be pleased, and He will give you. Therefore, give. Then people start giving. Then they receive. Then they believe that, oh, God is great. He gave me these things. That's good. But if you don't give, God never gives you back. God never gives you back if you don't give. Therefore, you have to give. Then God will give you. That's how it is. Then people strongly believe that God will give us something. And the other thing is, when you face some difficulties, you always go to, again, your gods and ask for things and ask for help. In that case, if some help is received, then you always think that, oh, God help me. Then why don't you blame God? Because if He helped you, then He must have troubled you as well. When something bad happened to you, you never put that to God. Perhaps you create a devil or demon or someone, because he has done that, and God helps me. Now you can see that, ladies and gentlemen, everything is created, but there is a story behind that. If we can understand that story, then we can straight away go to the logic. If you give, you will get. Give and it will be given to you. That is true. Give and it will be given to you. When you give, then you create a vacuum. Then things will come towards you. That's a law. Create a vacuum here. Then you will experience that. When you create a vacuum, then air flows into this room. Likewise, when you give, you will receive. But because of fear, it's not enough. That logic is not enough because of fear. You have to create someone almighty. Therefore, you can't accept. One day, a lady came to me. She was crying, and she couldn't tolerate because her child was disabled. intellectually disabled. She was crying. Then it happened in another country. She was crying. And then I spoke with her. I talked to her and she said that I always go to temples and worship, and I plead from God and all these things. Then finally I said, please, stop this. Why do you punish yourself? I asked from her, do you love your daughter? Then she said, yes, with my life. Then I said, then why don't you accept her? She's suffering, she's crying, and she wants to change everything. And she knows that she can't. But she wants, she created someone now. Almighty God. And she expects something from that God. Therefore she goes to temples. Not only one, but also many. Wherever she goes, and she asks for mental serenity by changing the condition of the child. She's well educated. If she can accept her child, then she doesn't have any problem. I asked, do you have any financial issues? Then she said, no. Because she's well off. She doesn't have any financial issues, but she has a mental issue because she can't accept her child. Then I asked, do you wear makeup? Perhaps she thinks that I'm mad. They said, yes. I asked, why? Can't you accept your face? That's the same reason. She can't accept her face. She can't accept her body. She can't accept her child. She can't accept anything in this world. Because of that she is suffering, not because of her child. Try to understand these things. You always talk about your issues, your problems, ladies and gentlemen. They are not your problems, they are your mental issues. If you have a financial issue and you can't pay your rent, yes, there is a problem. Then let's work. Let's do a job and earn some money and pay the rent. That's fine. But if you want to change the world, that's a mental issue, ladies and gentlemen. We need to treat your mind, not to the world. That's why the Buddha said, accept everything. He taught us to accept everything, not to change anything. We don't have to change anything. If your child has a problem, some issues, perhaps he's ugly, she's ugly, because of some scars. Then the child is suffering and the mother is suffering. Perhaps the father is suffering. They had to suffer. Perhaps your children can't, or your son or your child can't study very well. But you can't accept. Then you have Bodhi trees, or churches, temples, pagodas. Then you can go and offer things and ask from God, please give some intellectual capacity to my child. Then only will I be satisfied. If you can save that money, it will be very useful. It will come in handy in the future. But you can't tolerate that because you can't accept. You are not ready to accept anything, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, you always try to change everything. Accept. The mind can accept, but the ego is not ready to do that. If you accept the ego will be against it because it wants to be superior. Then it can't be superior if you accept all these things. But the mind accepts. Mind doesn't have any issues. That's why when you live, you have a free life. But if ego controls your life, then you also will have many issues. Oh, she's more beautiful than me. I'm not fair enough, face-wise. My skin color is very dark. Please God. Just imagine that. Then if you can accept this, your problem will be sorted. That's why you should follow this teaching. Always try to find solutions to your issues, ladies and gentlemen. These are your mental issues, I'm telling you. I'm sorry to say these things, but this is the truth. These are your mental issues. If you think that I can't live without my child, okay, this is a mental issue. You can't say that, no, I'm a mother, you are not a mother, you can't understand motherly love. Oh, yes. Mothers can tell that. And fathers also can say, you are a monk, you don't know. Okay. Now one day you will realize that you are not a mother or a father, you are the mind, and a defiled mind. Because of those defilements you are suffering, and if you can understand the doctrine of the Buddha and can eradicate this one day, then you will be happy. Then you will be able to accept everything. Right now you can't accept everything, therefore you are suffering. If you have a intellectually disabled child, just imagine that. You have an intellectually disabled child. If you can accept that, that's it. Then you can help him. You can help him. You can earn some money, and you can start a center to protect them. Not only your child. You can protect some other children as well. These are the things you should do if you can accept. If your son has some kind of disorder, then you should accept that. You should accept, and you should help him. If you don't accept, then you try to change everything, and you suffer. Because of that, the child is also suffering, and child's future is in danger. Therefore, suffering is not a solution. Mental vexation is not a solution. Anger is not the solution. You can be angry. You can be angry, and because of your child, you are angry with your spouse. That's not a solution. You try to fight others, but it is not a solution. You just need to accept. Whatever condition you have, you need to accept. Then let me help you to accept that. Whatever you have, That's the reason you should learn. You should study and practice the doctrine of the Buddha. You should be able to accept everything, whatever condition you have. I'm telling you, whatever condition. One day you will have cancer. Can you accept that? One day you will die. You should be able to accept. Otherwise you will come back and accept. You will come back as, I don't know. You will come back as someone. And one day you will accept that. Then you won't come back. Otherwise you will come back to accept this. Death must be accepted. You should accept that. You can do that if you can understand the truth of the world. That's the only thing. Just imagine that. You should learn this, you should study this, you should practice this just before you have cancer. I'm telling you. Because you have, before you have dangerous illness, whatever, or some bad conditions that can't be reversed. You will have some social issues in the future. Your children will do something bad, and you can't face the society. Then the society will blame them. Society will reject them, cast them away. But you can't join with society. You have to be with your child. Then you should be able to accept your child. But if you suffer, you never do that. If you suffer, then you will blame him more than others. I have seen some children, some parents. Actually, they are not parents. Because they can't tolerate that, because some social issues are occurred because of some behaviors of their children. But they can't accept that. If your son is an addict, you should be able to accept him and find a cure. Otherwise you will suffer. First of all, you should accept that. Can you? Then what will happen to your ego? I know the pure mind will accept, but the ego doesn't. The ego doesn't, and the ego will create vexation. Because if you can't accept anything, you try to expect things. When you can't accept, you will expect. Then you need God and everyone. Just accept it. There is a barrier, the ego. Let's eradicate that. It's easy. Look, we can wipe it. It's easy. The ego. Because of the ego, because of this entity, illusional entity. It's not an entity actually, it's an illusional entity. Because of this illusional entity, you can't accept anything. Therefore, when the mind manifests, it suffers. Something happened last year. Just imagine this. Something happened last year. Right now, the mind manifests and it suffers. Because you can't accept it. Something happened, but you can't accept it. You couldn't and you can't. Right now also you can't, therefore you suffer. You suffer means the mind suffers right now as well. We need to find a cure. You should work out. This must be your life lesson. That's why we always ask you to practice the path with your life. Because you have very limited life, and I can't use time because time is an illusion. You have very limited life. Tomorrow you will have a dangerous disease. When you have that, I don't think you will practice anymore because you will suffer. When you suffer, you can't practice, because in order to practice, you need a serene mind, at least to some extent. If you are suffering a lot, you can't practice the path. You can't understand the Dhamma. When someone is crying, you can't preach to them. When someone is suffering, actually they are mentally unstable. You may have experienced that. When someone is suffering, means like when someone is vexed deeply, actually they are not mentally balanced anymore. Therefore, whatever you say, they reject. They can't understand. Sometimes when you advise your children, then they never listen to it. They never listen to it because they are suffering. They are suffering and they can't understand what you say. No point in telling anything. Same thing happens. Therefore, sooner the better. If you can understand it today, tomorrow you will face some situations, but you will be okay with that. You will be able to accept whatever happens to you. But people always try to enjoy their life, and when something happens to them and can't be, or when something happens irreversible, then what happens? Then they will come to the monastery and they try to practice the path. And sometimes I'm not focusing on any of you. When they are retired from their careers, then they try to come to the monastery and they try to practice the path. Perhaps they don't have anything to do. I'm not talking about you. Perhaps now they can't enjoy their life because they can't see properly. They can't hear properly. I'm not talking about you again. You can still see. When they can't enjoy their life and they can't travel and all these things, they try to come to monasteries, temples, churches. But this is not the way. This is not the way, because don't ever think that this is some kind of practice that you should do when you don't have anything. This is the way of life. If this is the way of life, you should practice it from your birth. Before you go to school, you should start practicing this. Because your life is the most valuable thing. If you don't know how to live, what's the point in having many years? If you don't know how to eat one mango, how many mangoes can you eat? If you don't know how to live in a mind, how can you live many years? I can remember a child came to me A son came to me in our monastery, and he asked a question. He asked that, Guru Hamdro, how can I stay in the Valley Madhuva? When I come to the Valley Madhuva, Valley Madhuva means where we practice the path. How can I meditate? When I come to the Valley Madhuva, then I can't stay. I feel so hard to stay there. I want to stay at least half an hour, but I can't. What can I do? Then I said that, son, you can't stay half an hour because you can't stay a second. Try to stay a second, then you will be able to stay half an hour very easily. Therefore, let's learn how to live in a mind, just one mind. Then you can live your life to the fullest. You don't know how to live in a mind. You don't know how to use a mind. Therefore, you can't use your whole life. You only experience suffering and vexation and fear. That's why the Buddha said, Tanhaya jayati soko tanhaya jayati bhaya. Because of attachment. Because of ignorance, attachment manifests. Due to attachment, you only experience fear and suffering. You only experience fear and suffering because you experience the past and the future. When you experience the past, then you always suffer. You always regret. When you experience the future, you always experience fear. Tanhaya jayati soko tanhaya jayati bhaya. Therefore, we need to eradicate attachment. When we eradicate attachment, we need to find the cause of attachment. The cause is ignorance. Therefore, we need to do something to eradicate ignorance. That's why the Buddha's doctrine helps us to understand the reality. Then we won't be ignorant anymore. That's why we should learn anicca dukkha anatta. If you can learn anicca dukkha anatta, then you can live in a mind. In a mind. The Buddha said everything is anicca. Everything is anicca, everything is dukkha, and everything is anatta. If everything is anicca, then we should be able to apply anicca to everything and check and realize. That's how we practice. You study and apply. Here you learn. You take this knowledge and apply. Everything is anicca. If something is anicca, that is dukkha, the Buddha said. Yadaniccan tan dukkha. If something is anicca, that is dukkha as well. Then we should understand the meaning of dukkha and anicca. And try to learn this and apply. Apply that straight away. Everything is anicca. Which means if I explain anicca, you feel that everything is nicca. Means you feel that everything is fixed. And there is a natural tendency things to be created. Therefore, you have things in your mind. Things. This one. This is a thing. Then you strongly believe that this thing exists. But this is not a thing. That doesn't mean that this is nothing. This is not a thing. And this is also not a thing. This is a manifestation. This is a manifestation. But in your mind, you have created an object, a specific object. You have created a specific object. And you name it. What is the name of this object? What is the name? A pen. Then small children also name it as a pen. But this is not a pen. This is some energy. This is not a cube. This is some energy. But when you see this, you feel that this is fixed. Therefore, automatically you feel that this is an object. Fixed object. When you see this, you feel that this is a fixed object. How do you know that this is fixed? But you believe that. But my question is, how do you know that this is fixed? I didn't give it to you to touch. I just showed you. Then you strongly believe that this is fixed. Therefore, you believe that this is an object, and you believe that this is fixed. You believe that this is unique. Therefore, you name it. You named it, and now you say that this is a cube. How do you know that? The mind doesn't need any reason, because the mind has its own reason, which is called ignorance. When the mind is ignorant, the mind creates names for these things. Therefore, ignorance, or only ignorance, knows that this is a pen. Only ignorance knows. Only ignorance knows that this is a cube. Do you know that this is a pen? Do you know that this is a pen? Yes. That means I'm talking to I'm talking to an ignorant mind. Do you see a person here? Yes. Because ignorance knows that there is a person here. Only ignorance knows. Because the ignorance is the architect. Because only ignorance believes that everything is fixed and there is a natural tendency to manifest things. In order to manifest something, there should be something. That means the architectural design must be ready in order to create something, in order to build something. Let's assume that you are a building contractor. I come to you and say that, build a building. Will you do that? No, you ask for a plan, architectural drawings. When you ask for the architectural drawings, then I had to give. When I give that, then you will build. That means, first of all, you should believe that there are things. Then things manifest. But this is just energy. This is just energy. Electrons, protons, neutrons. Subatomic particles, subatomic particles. I can't say that this is made up of subatomic particles. Like, we can say that, but actually we can't say this is made up of subatomic particles. If we say that, then this thing is different and subatomic particles are different. It's like I drill it and take subatomic particles out and the skin will be there. It's not like that. This is subatomic particles. And this is also the same. And this is also the same. And this is also the same. Subatomic particles. And can you see subatomic particles? You know that. You studied it. But can you see subatomic particles? No. You see a human body. You see a human body and you see a duster and you see a cube and you see a pen. A pen. You know that this is a pen. That means ignorance is there. Because ignorance is the architect. The architect designs. Because only the architect knows that this is a fixed object. You strongly believe your existence. Who else knows about your existence? Only you. Even one strand of your hair doesn't know that. This is you. Only you know. That this is you. That means the ignorant mind, only the ignorant mind knows it. Otherwise, there is no such thing called you. The ignorant mind knows. There is no such thing called a cube. I'm not talking about this shape, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking about a fixed cube. Because this is some energy. This is also some energy. These are not objects. We can't find any objects in the world. Definitely we can't find subjects. But you believe that you are the subject and these are objects. Because when you feel that you are the subject, then you will feel others are objects. Therefore, I'm an object. I'm an object to you. Because the subject is created there, then you feel that this is an object. Therefore, you feel that you are looking at me. This object is created in your mind. Otherwise, this is some energy and you are also some energy. The mind is also some energy. Everything is the same, but you feel everything is separated. When you feel everything is separated, then you feel that you are a separate entity. Now, that disaster begins. Only ignorance knows. Therefore, when we eradicate ignorance, you won't feel this separateness and discrimination. You won't feel it anymore. You won't feel that you are a lady or you are a gentleman, because you will become just the mind. When I say you, I'm talking about that experience, not the ego. The experience, when I show this, some experience occurs. Yeah? Some experience occurs. Blue. When I say you, you should understand that that's the experience I'm talking about. Not an entity, not the ego. This experience. Now you can see, this experience occurs. There's a human being here. What do you think? That's how you experience. That's how you experience, because that experience occurs due to some conditions or the conditions of the mind. If the mind is defiled, a different experience manifests. Then you experience something which is not true. This is not a fixed object, but you experience this as fixed. Because you strongly believe that everything is anicca. That means there is a natural tendency to create objects, fixed things. Therefore, you believe that this is sukha, which means this is fixed. And you believe that this is atta, which means this is special and unique. Then when you say nicca sukha atta, when you take all these three together, now you can feel this is fixed and special, unique thing. That's how you always feel. This is a fixed object. That's why when you see everything, then you feel that these are fixed things. Then when you see your child, then you feel that he or she is a fixed object. But it is not. Nothing is fixed. Everything is a manifestation. Everything is a manifestation. It manifests right now. Everything manifests right now. This manifests right now. No one believes this. Therefore, this doesn't have the past. This doesn't have the future. It manifests right now. It manifests right now. I can prove that, ladies and gentlemen. This is a metal. Metals have metallic bonds. Let me draw a metallic bond. This is a piece of metal. This is the metallic bond. Sinking positive ions in an electron stream. This is not dead. This is very active. Right now, also, this is active. And it moves. This is not dead. Then if we take all these reactions, actions and reactions from this, what will remain? Nothing. Therefore, this is still alive. This is not dead. Nothing is dead. Everything is still alive. Everything is alive. This is alive. And these reactions, these actions exist. If we take these actions from this, nothing will remain. Therefore, this metal is nothing but some actions and reactions. If you take the sun, when you see the sun, you always believe that this is the sun which is the object. This is not an object. It has some reactions or actions. Apart from that, nothing is there. Nuclear fusion and nuclear fission reactions are going on there. If we take all these things, reactions out, you can't see anything. Therefore, the sun is active. It manifests right now because these reactions occur right now. This is plastic. This is not dead. This is very active right now because it has carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and these atoms. These atoms have subatomic particles. And subatomic particles are made up of energy. That means they are energy. It always shares energy. Therefore, this is very active. And these actions are going on. Then if we take all these actions out, you can't find any plastic here. Therefore, when you take plastic, it is nothing but some actions. That's why we always say that these are in dynamic equilibrium. They are in dynamic equilibrium. We feel that they are stable. Of course they are stable, but actions and reactions are going on. These are, those actions are called objects. And if we take those actions, nothing remains. Therefore, everything manifests right now. That's why you should be able to apply anicca in everything. The Buddha said that anicca, dukkha, anatta is not for only human beings. They are not only for human beings, they are for everything. Nothing is special in this world. Everything is the same. Everything manifests right now. Therefore, you can't find the past. What is the past of the sun? Can you say that the sun has been there for 600 billion years? Of course, people can say that. But the truth is, it occurs right now. Therefore, the sun is not an object. It is a process. Processes occur right now. Right now means when causes are there and effect manifest. Therefore, whenever you see that effect manifest because of causes, that's it. The sun exists because of causes. It happens right now. Therefore, you can't find the past of the sun. You can't find the future of the sun. The sun occurs, I would say. The sun occurs right now. This metal cube occurs right now. Happens. Because it's a process. This is a process. This is an event. I know it's very difficult for you to understand that, because how can this be an event? This is dead, and this is something. It doesn't have. It can't talk. It can't walk. But it is alive. That's why if you connect a battery or something, if you give a potential difference to this will conduct electricity. This will conduct electricity means these electrons start moving fast. This is energy. Therefore, if you take a tree, it is anicca. You can't say that it has been there. It manifests right now. Try to understand this, ladies and gentlemen, then you will be able to explain the universe. Otherwise, how can you explain the universe? How can you explain your past? What happened to your past? Yesterday you had your home, your house. What happened to it now? Then you can say that no, it was there and it is there, time passes. Then you had to create something illusional. Time is an illusion. People have created that because people wanted to explain all these things. Time. Then how can you say that you have been there? How can you say that I have been there from my birth? How can you say that? What have been there? Your body or your mind or what? Only illusional self. Only the illusional self has been there. But it is also wrong. Because it is also manifest right now. But the same thing is the same thing manifests. Therefore you think that you have been there. Otherwise the ego is also created right now. Because nothing happens or you can't create anything in the past. Can you raise your hand in the past? Can you think in the past? Can you talk in the past? You can't do anything in the past. You can't do anything in the future. Everything happens right now. Then what happened to your house? Yesterday you saw a house. Then what happened to it? Then you, if you believe that it's a fixed object, then it is fixed. Then somehow you need to understand that phenomena. Therefore, you take time. Then time passes, everything stays the same. Time passes. That's how people start believing until the Buddha's wisdom. When the Buddha comes to the world, then we got his wisdom. Now we know, we means a handful of people. Don't expect everyone to know this. Because this is very difficult for them to understand, because the mind says something, because the mind is so ignorant. Therefore, the mind says something because the mind experiences something. Therefore, the mind doesn't believe. You never believe that this is nothing but some actions and reactions, and this is very active. Luckily, we have modern science. Therefore, you have to believe what I say. If you believe science, modern science, then you have to believe this, because this is very active, and these actions and reactions exist right now. Therefore, this is not an object. This is a compound, or this is a manifestation. This is only a manifestation. This is not fixed. If something is not fixed, that can't be special. That can't be unique. But you feel that your hair is yours. Your hair is yours because you feel that you are a separate entity. Therefore, your hair is also different. It is not different, ladies and gentlemen. It is active and it manifests right now. If it manifests right now, how do you believe that it has been there? How can you say that your body has been there? How can you say that your mind has been there? Nothing. Nothing has been there. Everything manifests right now. Therefore, you can't find any beings who have been living. The mind manifests right now. The body manifests right now. The entire universe manifests right now. Apply this knowledge, then you will realize. You know modern science, and apply this knowledge, the Buddha's doctrine, then you will realize all these things. Only thing that you need to realize finally is your body and your mind. Therefore, you can't say that's your body and your mind, because that manifests right now. If it manifests right now, how can you say that it's yours? If you had to say something, let's assume that we go to a factory and something is created right now, but you are witnessing it. When you are witnessing it, then you can say that it is created for me, or that is mine. In order to say that is mine, you should exist first, and you should witness it. How can you exist? If everything manifests right now, how can you exist just before that? What part of your body exists before this? Your eyes, your nose? What? If everything manifests, take your eyes and check. Don't take it out. Check. When you check that, you will see there are some atoms, there are some molecules, there are some electrons, protons, neutrons, subatomic particles, and they are made up of energy. Therefore, it is full of energy and it is very active. It is very active right now. Therefore, if you put some acid, it will change. If you electrocute it, it will change, because it is active. If it is dead, nothing happens if you do anything. Try to understand this. If you can understand this, then you will realize that your existence is nothing but an illusion. Then if you realize that this existence is an illusion, then you won't feel this existence anymore. Then if you won't feel this existence anymore, then you will be like a river and like a tree. Then you will serve. You won't be egocentric. Because if ego doesn't manifest, you can't be egocentric. But ego manifests. But the ego manifests, what will happen? Then you will be egocentric because you have an entity to protect. Then you will create more entities around you to be superior. Then you will have to protect everything after that. Then you will steal, you will take forcefully everything towards you and feel superior. By doing so, you will commit sins, and I don't know what will happen next. Therefore, try to understand this. This is the pure Dhamma, the pure doctrine. Apply it, and if you see any faults, come back to me. Apply to this, apply into your hair, apply into your face, apply into anything. Apply. Use your knowledge. You have learnt modern science. Apply it. And see, then you will realize that this chair is still alive. But it doesn't breathe. Don't ever think that if something is breathing, it has life. I'm not talking about that. It is very active. Everything is active and everything manifests right now. Therefore, no one has been there. Everything manifests right now, like 12 manifest when I write 1 and 2. When I write 1 and 2, 12 manifests. No one was witnessing this. It manifests right now. Let's talk about your hair. It manifests right now. Let's talk about your eyes. It manifests right now. Everything happens at the same time. No one was witnessing. The mind, it also manifests right now. The mind manifests right now. Hair manifests right now. The eyes manifest right now. Now everything manifests right now. Then how can you say that something manifests for you? Where were you? Show me. Then what do you think about your existence? Don't you feel that it's a false sense of existence? That's why the Buddha said, it is a false sense of existence. This is only the mind. Therefore, when you apply anicca into this, anicca, dukkha, apply anicca, dukkha, anatta. Take all these three together. Apply anicca, dukkha, anatta. Apply, if you want to apply it into the sun, into the moon, into earth, into Mars. If this is not enough, apply into Mars. Then you will see the same thing. Apply it into your body, all the parts of your body. Apply. Then you will see that everything manifests at the same time. Everything manifests at the same time. Mind and the body and the surroundings, all the things manifest at the same time. Then how can you create your entity? The mind manifests right now, and you take things that the mind takes things from memory and things that the mind has been there. Because when the ego generates, when the ego manifests, then the ego takes things from memory and experience them right now and thinks that it has been there. You haven't been there, ladies and gentlemen. There is no such thing called you or I. The mind manifests right now and it passes away. Again it manifests and passes away, manifests and passes away. That's the only thing that occurs in the world. Therefore you can't say that this tree is 500 years old. No one is 500 years old. No one is 60 years old. No one is even 1 year old or 1 second old. Everything manifests right now. Then what happened to your expectations? If everything manifests right now, what will happen to your expectations? You won't have any expectation if everything happens right now. But if you think that you have been there and you will have been there, then you have a big life. This is the present, and this is the past, and this is the future. Then you will have expectations. Then why do you want to associate with someone? Do you want someone to associate with? If you manifest right now, if this condition manifests right now, what do you think? Will you want someone to associate with? Now you can see that you had to do all these things. You got married, and you got children, and education, and all these jobs, and things, all these things. You had to do all these things because of the ego. I know this is very deep, but when you practice, I think it will be very easy. When you keep listening, then it will be very easy. Because now I don't feel that this is very deep. But if I go to the past and listen to this sermon, then I would say that, oh my God, Nibbana is almost impossible. Therefore, trust me. Keep listening to this. Keep listening to this, then you will realize the truth. When you realize the truth, it will be very easy. I'm telling you. You will see this, not through your eyes, but through your mind, wisdom. You will see this. You will see this if you apply the Dhamma, if you apply the doctrine into this, then you will see. Apply the Dhamma, which means the doctrine plus modern science. Then you will realize. Try to take all the actions from this. Then nothing remains. That means this is nothing but those actions. Those actions manifest right now. Therefore, no one is waiting for you. No one is there to associate with. You only associate with yourself. The ego creates illusions. When you see this, the ego creates an illusion. Illusional gurutero. Now, first of all, the ego creates itself. After that, it creates illusional gurutero. Then you listen to it. But you know that the sound manifests in the mind. Colors manifest in the mind. You shake your head by using the mind. You do everything by using the mind. But you think that you associate with me. That's why I told you. Experience exists due to causes. Color, a color is an experience. That experience occurs. That's it. Who's there to experience it? No one. Therefore, we can't say that nothing is there. Nothing and thing, both of them are wrong. Nothing and thing, both of them are wrong. Therefore, don't say that nothing, that means no thing, and yes thing, both of them are wrong. Try to understand the manifestation. Everything is a manifestation. A dukkha. Now can you imagine? When the Buddha said, everything is dukkha, people believe that everything is suffering. How will they attain Nibbana? Actually, they will attain Nibbana. Illusional Nibbana, that happens in the illusional future. If you want to attain Nibbana, it happens right now. Can you imagine this, ladies and gentlemen? If everything occurs right now, what about Nibbana? Do you think that it will happen? This manifests right now. This manifests right now. And your Nibbana? It manifests right now. Please apply these things. Apply. If you can understand even a bit, I want you to apply that. That's it. You know modern science, therefore I'm safe. We use modern science with the doctrine of the Buddha. Then you can easily get on with that. Apply it. If you can't apply this to any object, please bring that object. Then we will remove the Buddha's statue and keep that object and worship it, because that will become the greatest thing in the greatest thing ever, because the Buddha's doctrine is failed. I couldn't find anything. I don't think you will find. But if you have, bring it. If you believe that everything is made up of electrons, protons, neutrons, that's enough for me. Then it has interreactions. You never believe this, ladies and gentlemen, when I do this. These two fingers are not stuck. There is a gap between these two fingers. Can you believe that? We can send an X-ray through this. And the skin, these atoms are not joined. They are separated. They have forces between them, attraction and repulsion forces. Therefore, this is in balance. You can send an X-ray through this. This is only a manifestation. Apply this. This is the truth you should understand. Apply this. When you apply it, you will realize only one thing. When you apply anicca dukkha anatta, you should be able to realize everything manifests right now. If everything manifests right now, how can self exist? Ask that question. Then who came from last birth to this birth, and who will go from this birth to next birth? Who came from last minute to this point, and who will go from this point to the future. If no one is there to go to the future, how can you say that the future exists? If no one came from the past, then how can you say that the past exists? Everything is pachupanna. That means everything happens according to the theory of cause and effect. You are so lucky to be a great disciple of the Buddha. If you can understand this. This is the message we need to share with everyone. This is not a religion. Did I talk anything religious? I was talking about science. I was talking about science. I can speak the Buddha's doctrine through science without using anicca, dukkha, anatta, any word. Just taking science. Actually, I'm using these words because you know these words. If I speak to people, some people who don't know these three words, then I don't have to use these three words because this is nature. I just need to talk about nature. Metallic bonds are nature. Ionic bonds are nature. All the type of bonds are nature. And they are active. Then you can see that if this metal is this, how can you say that this is fixed? And this is not a photo, this is not a picture. This is alive. These electrons are moving here and there. This manifests right now. These arrangements are arranged right now. Then one manifestation, then again another manifestation occurs. This is how it is. Therefore, we don't need time to explain these things. That's why the Buddha's doctrine is akalika. We just need to practice timelessness. How do we practice timelessness? By saying that everything is timelessness, everything? No. Just understand this. When you understand this, then you will realize that time is not applicable. If everything manifests right now, apply time. Can we apply time? No, then time is applicable. Inapplicable is not applicable. Can you apply time to your hair? Today, go home and start meditating. How? Apply time to your hair, to cells, to nails, to your arm, your hand, fingers. Apply. And your rings, earrings, bangles. Apply. Your wristwatch. Apply. Time. Then you will feel that time is not applicable. Therefore it is akalika. This entire universe is akalika. This is very interesting. The Buddha's doctrine. Or nature. Realizing nature is so interesting. That's why we always tell our youngsters, this life is fantastic. Then do you still believe in sensual desires? The ego believes that. Realize the universe and live in there. Then you will become the universe. I'll see you next week. May the blessings of Noble Triple Gem be with you all.